Should you redeem 0% fixed rate I-bonds? What about 0.4% and 0.9% fixed rate I-bonds? And what is the break even if you do? Hello members, super savers, and bond course folks. I hope you're having a good week. Here's what we'll be talking about in today's video. What is the break even if you decide to redeem old I-bonds with a fixed rate of 0%, 0.4%, or 0.9%? Because, well, a lot of you have asked about this. As usual, here's our front of video disclaimer. For a detailed disclaimer, please refer to the end of this video. Let's dive in now, folks. So, as many of our Diamond NestEgg fans know, we are planning on redeeming all of our zero and low fixed rate I-bonds and reinvesting into new ones with a higher fixed rate. I had hoped to do it this month, but let's just say with the April 15th tax deadline and a backlog of videos we're working through, I'm going to redeem our old I-bonds on or after May 1st at this point. However, while the redemption process for our old I-bonds has been slightly delayed, we will still be buying some new I-bonds with fresh money this week to grab this current fixed rate of 1.3%. This is the highest I-bond fixed rate in about 16 years. So I don't want to wait until the very last minute and potentially miss the April 30th issuance deadline. I'm conservative in this case, so we'll be locking in this rate in the next few days. Do note that our latest forecast suggests that we should also get the same 1.3% fixed rate at the next I-bond rate reset date on May 1st, as I explained in this recent May I-bond rate projection video linked below. But what's done is done, and I'm generally a big fan of spreading out the risk, as our Diamond NestEgg regulars know. Plus, the I-bond inflation rate at the next I-bond rate reset date on May 1st is expected to be lower than the current inflation rate, meaning that this total combined I-bond rate will also likely be lower come May 1st. But I digress. So let's take a look at our 3 break-even scenarios if you want to redeem your old I-bonds and reinvest in new ones. Namely, if you decide to redeem your old I-bonds with a fixed rate of 0%, 0.4%, or 0.9% to purchase new I-bonds at the current fixed rate of 1.3%. Section 1 here shows the numbers for your current I-bond holdings under 3 different scenarios. In this row, we have the old I-bond fixed rates of 0%, 0.4%, and 0.9%. In this row, we have the current semi-annual inflation rate of 1.97% times 2, giving us a 3.94% annualized inflation rate for all 3 scenarios. And here is the bump, which is basically the fixed rate multiplied by the semi-annual inflation rate of 1.97%. And here we have the total combined I-bond rate, which is equal to the fixed rate plus the semi-annual inflation rate times 2 plus the bump. And here's the total combined I-bond rate under all 3 scenarios. Bond beginners, folks, please refer back to Module 7 on I-bonds if you need a detailed refresher on how to calculate the total combined I-bond rate. Moving on now to Section 2 in the middle here. This section shows the numbers for the new I-bonds that you might be purchasing before the end of April. Here is the current I-bond fixed rate of 1.3%. That's valid for all I-bonds issued on or before April 30th, which will be the same under all scenarios. And this row shows the amount that we're redeeming and investing in this example. Let's assume that we're redeeming and reinvesting $1,000 for this break-even analysis. Now, let's move on to Section 3 on the bottom here, showing the break-even calculation. And let's start with these 0% fixed rate I-bonds before we move on to the 0.4% and 0.9% fixed rate I-bonds. Here is the early withdrawal penalty on the redemption as a percentage. That's this total combined I-bond rate here divided by 4, because the early withdrawal penalty is always the last 3 months total combined I-bond interest if you redeem after the first year but before the end of year 5 of your I-bond. Multiply this by this $1,000 that we're redeeming and reinvesting here. And here is the early withdrawal penalty amount in dollars that we lose per $1,000 if we redeem early, basically what we lose with the redemption reinvestment process. And here is what we gain. Here is the extra fixed rate, the additional fixed rate that we earn in percentage terms on an annualized basis. That's this current IBond fixed rate that we get per year if we decide to buy new IBonds minus the old IBond fixed rate here that we would have gotten anyway had we not redeemed. Note also that we ignore the inflation rate for the reinvestment benefit because our alternative scenario is that you keep your old IBonds, so you would get the inflation rate in any case. So by redeeming these 0% fixed rate IBonds here and reinvesting those redemption proceeds into 1.3% fixed rate IBonds here, we earn 1.3% more per year than if we just kept our old IBonds. Multiply this by this $1,000 that we're redeeming and reinvesting here. And here's the extra fixed rate amount in dollars, the additional dollars that we earn per year on our $1,000 investment if we redeem and reinvest. And to get to the break even, we would divide the early withdrawal penalty in dollars that we lose by the extra fixed rate amount, the additional fixed rate dollars that we earn or gain. And because these are all annualized numbers, we then multiply by 12 to get to the number of months needed to break even. About 9 months essentially for 0% fixed rate IBonds. Meaning that it will take you about 9 months to earn back the early withdrawal penalty if you redeem and reinvest your old IBonds before the end of year 5 of your investment. Or, in other words, it makes sense to redeem and reinvest your old IBonds with a 0% fixed rate if you're planning on holding them for more than 9 months, because you will start earning an extra return on your investment after these 9 months. Now, let's run the same analysis for 0.4% fixed rate IBonds. And here's what the numbers look like, resulting in a break-even time of about 14 months. And if we run the same analysis for the 0.9% fixed rate IBonds, here's what the numbers look like, with a break-even time of about 36 months, or 3 years. If we look at all of our 3 scenarios, what we can see is 2 things. First, redeeming and reinvesting your IBonds under these scenarios only makes sense if you plan on holding your IBonds longer term, and specifically beyond the time required to break even. And second, the higher the fixed rate is on your old IBonds, the longer it will take for you to break even. As we can see here, the higher the old fixed rate, the smaller the uptick from reinvesting in the newer IBonds, and the longer the break even in months. So these break even scenarios that we just walked through, there are a few assumptions and considerations to keep in mind. First, our break-even analysis assumes a reinvestment scenario versus the baseline scenario of staying invested in IBonds, meaning that even if you do nothing, you will keep earning the old fixed rate plus the inflation rate going forward. Second, our break-even analysis assumes an early withdrawal penalty of the last 3 months' interest, which is applicable to IBonds held more than 1 year but less than 5 years. If you've been holding your old IBonds for more than 5 years, there is no early withdrawal penalty, and you basically have an immediate break even. And if you've been holding your IBonds for less than 1 year, well then you simply can't redeem them in the vast majority of cases. So it's a moot point whether you should redeem and reinvest. Third, for new IBonds, we only show the fixed rate, excluding the inflation rate and the bump. That's section 2 here. Because remember, you would earn the current inflation rate anyway, even if you kept your old IBonds. So the uptick in return will have to come from the increase in the fixed rate. And we ignore the bump in our scenarios, as it would add complexity while being simply too small under normal circumstances to make a significant difference. Fourth, remember that the maximum annual purchase limit for IBonds is $10,000 per social security number under normal circumstances. So if your redemption proceeds are more than $10,000, you will need to take that into consideration in your personal calculations. But do remember that you don't have to redeem all your old IBonds in one go. For example, let's say your old IBonds have grown to $11,000 over the past few years with accrued interest, but your limit for new IBond purchases in this year is only $10,000. Then you can simply redeem and reinvest $10,000 of your old IBonds and let the remaining $1,000 continue to earn the inflation rate plus any old fixed rate that they may have, which provides a perfect transition to 0.5. Remember that IBond redemptions always consist of principal and the prorated interest amount, and in the year of redemption, taxes may come due as part of that interest. You cannot choose to withdraw only principal or only accrued interest. It'll always be a prorated mix of the two. For purposes of our scenarios, we assume that the redeemed amount for reinvestment is the net amount after tax. So, as I said before, we are planning to redeem our 0 and lower fixed rate IBonds to buy new ones at the current 1.3% fixed rate. And the reinvestment into new IBonds works well for us because we do not plan on retiring in the next 10 to 15 years. So all these break-even timelines are not really discouraging us. But here's an additional bit of food for thought. We have a fair bit of inflation protection in our portfolio already, and we may be running up against our yearly IBond limits even if we consider our overall family circumstances. So we also plan on buying some TIPS, Treasury inflation protected securities, with our IBond redemption proceeds, because TIPS real yields are fairly attractive at the moment and higher than the IBond fixed rate. Plus, for all practical purposes, there is no limit on how much in TIPS a private investor can buy. If this is not you, so for example, if you are retiring soon or already in retirement, if you have no or very little inflation protection in your portfolio, or if you're just not comfortable with TIPS, there's nothing to say that you shouldn't just hang on to your 0 and or lower fixed rate IBonds and simply keep buying more. Or use some of the other strategies that we've shared with you in these IBond videos here if it suits your personal situation. Or you could join our Bond Beginners course, learn more about how TIPS work, get comfortable with them, and start earning real yields like these here. So, now that you've seen what these break-even numbers look like, what's your thinking? Will you be redeeming your old IBonds to buy new ones at the current 1.3% fixed rate? Will you be just buying more IBonds with new money, or are you considering buying TIPS? Drop a comment below and let the community know. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. And if you did, I'd love to invite you again to take a look at this video here on one of our 2 brand new bond courses. And to join us for our next live online Bond Beginners course session with Q&A on Tuesday, April 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out the links below this video for more details on our bond courses and YouTube Super Saver membership to see which is right for you. Also linked below this video is your 15% course coupon code for April. There's still a few days left in April to save and speed up your bond investing knowledge. All right, members, Super Savers, and Bond Course fans, good luck to everyone who's picking up IBonds soon. And see you again very soon with more brand new wealth building content for your financial journey.